Out of bounds, we are doing the roundup today where we're going to be talking about the Blue Jays past series and the series coming up for this week. We're also going to cover off the rotation, the lineup, and a little bit about trades. And we're bringing this to you every Monday. So I'm Adam. I'm always joined with Junior. Junior, are you ready? Let's go. Okay, Junior, the Toronto Blue Jays have returned home to Canada, and it seemed like a quite a great game. I know that you were at the game, so why don't you tell us about what the atmosphere was like and a little bit about the Jays playing at home?
It was an absolute bag of mixed emotions. They had home plate Nonna there. She threw out a first pitch along with a couple of the first responders. They had some really nice videos of the fans saying how much they missed the team and how much the team meant to them. Apparently, at some point, Charlie Montoya had to start looking down because he was crying. I think every player, even on the Royals, understood kind of how important that moment was. Just because, I mean, they haven't been here in for God knows how long, and I had always said during the pandemic to myself that once baseball comes back, that we're going to start getting back to that some kind of semblance of normalcy. Yep. And here we are. And I was there, we had pretty good seats. I would say probably halfway between third and home plate, about 2 or 3 rows up on the 200 level. So
nice.
We were in a really good spot. The game was electric. My voice was raspy for a couple of days afterwards from all the screaming and heckling that I like to do. I do keep it clean. You've probably heard me. It's some funny stuff, but yeah, it was a good game. I got to see Brad Hand come out. He came down here pretty quickly.
Recent trade,
pretty quickly from the Nationals and had his gear strapped on, so he was ready to run, and that was nice to see. But we got the win, so can't complain too much about it.
Love it. So you talked about Hand. Let's jump into the trades that the Jays picked up at the kind of final moments here before deadline day was kind of finished up there.
Yeah.
So Hand was one of them, and we also picked up another pitcher in Bayro. So what do you think about that?
So Jose Barrios made his debut on Saturday or Sunday, I believe. No, Sunday. 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Picked up the W. He looks comfortable. I don't know if it was he just knew the Kansas City's Royals really well, so he was calling that game, or if McGuire had a lot to do with it. But either way, it seemed like they were on the same page. He had them off balanced all day, which was absolutely phenomenal to see. I was probably expecting a little bit more out of Hand. He's I think he might be kind of in a bit of a slump right now, per se. Okay. He gave up 1 run on Friday night because he wasn't covering home plate. And then he blew a hold today, giving up 2 runs in the bottom of the 10th. We don't need that. Especially considering we gave up Riley Adams for that. So, and then the other pitcher we got was Joakim Soraya, who is another bullpen arm. I think he's got about 6 saves this year, but a pretty paltry record. He's like 1.6 ERA, not that great. But he was in Arizona, so I mean, not too much of a cause for concern on those numbers. But I think we did pretty well deadline day.
It was great. I think the Jays are probably positioned well now to hopefully get in the swing of things. Being at home and then picking up some pitching in the trade deadline there. And let's make a postseason run because we need to be good. And we did it in 2015 where the second half of the season was much stronger and we made a nice little run there. So we're going to talk about the Kansas City Royals series, but just real quick before that, 13-1 against the Red Sox on Thursday night last week. That was quite a game.
Needed as well. They're like a thorn in our side. So obviously, home opener, we won 6-4, pounded out 10 hits. Stripling got the win, so he goes to 4-6 on the season. I don't know if that's most likely his last start. I do believe he might be moving to the bullpen, but I think he might have one more start in him. Okay. And then Romano got his 9th save, and Tio and Bichette both went yard. Saturday, Manoah spinned an absolute gem. They won 4-0. And Springer, who I said in the beginning of this, before the season started, that he is going to absolutely love hitting in the Sky Dome. And he hit his first 2 of many home runs in the Sky Dome as a part of the home team. And then Sunday, we alluded to that earlier, was Barrios had his first start. So they won 5-1, and he pitched 6 innings, 5 hits, 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. And
that was great.
Semien went yard, and Espinal hit his second of the year. So that was nice to see.
Okay, awesome. So the next series coming up is against Cleveland. And so Cleveland's 51-51, and we wanted to touch on the name change here. So this is a long time coming for Cleveland. It's been talked about over the last few years. And, with things changing in these various sports leagues and some of the team names, Cleveland announced that their new name will be the Guardians. So, the nice thing, I guess, is there is some significance here. So I guess on one of the bridges there, they actually have a couple of Guardians statues. And so there's a connection to that about the city. So what do you think about the name change here?
So structures to keep a bridge up, or what they're basing their new name on?
They got to go with something, right? And I'm not sure that this is the best name they could have come up with, but at least it has some significance to the city.
Yeah. I heard some other names in there that sounded a lot better. I think one of them was Spiders. Like, I think Spiders sounds better than the Guardians.
Nobody has the name Spiders now that you say that, eh?
There's a great name that I think there's actually a AAA team named after it, and that's the Iron Pigs. I mean, Cleveland loved to barbecue, and sort of close to the iron mill industry. Or I think there was another one that had to do with lakes because of they're right on the lake. I don't know. I think there could have been some more thought process put into this, but
what did you think of the logo?
Kind of angels in the outfield.
Kind of like angels in the outfield. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
So yeah, not really digging it, but hey. I can't control what everyone does in baseball. If I did, the baseball, it would be perfect, but it's not.
So what about the series? The Jays are matching up against these guys. That series runs till Thursday, and then they're going to switch over to Boston. So what are we looking at with Cleveland?
Yeah, so game one, we've got Eli Morgan, who's 1-3 with a 6.62, going up against Robbie Ray, who's 9-5 with a 3.08. That was today, I do believe, and that was a loss on the Jays side. Tomorrow, we've got Hyunjin Ryu, who's 10-5 with a 3.26, going up against Zach Plesac. Jays fans from the past will remember that name, Plesac, who is 6-3 with a 4.26. Not much of the Indians have done a whole lot in the way of handled Ryu that well, except for a second baseman who I don't even think is going to be playing. So outside of that, Ryu should have some pretty good opportunities to control that game from his side. Then on Wednesday, we've got JC Mejia, who's 1-6 with a 7.60 ERA, going up against Steven Matz, who's 8-6 with a 4.58 ERA. The Indians/Guardians, none of them have had a whole lot of success against Matz, so that kind of plays into his favor. Yep. He has been pitching pretty well as of late, and then I don't think other than 2 Jays have actually faced Mejia before. And the one thing with the Jays is they tend to have a bit of trouble with guys they've never seen before. So look for maybe some potential issues there. And then the final is Tristan McKenzie, who's 1-4 with a 6.11, going up against Ross Stripling. So he is getting one more start, who's 4-6 with 4.75. And the Indians/Guardians have not had a whole lot of success against him. I would like to see the Jays pull away the next 3. But if they have to settle for a split, then they've got a lot of work to do in Boston.
Yeah, we got to start picking up some of these series, and maybe only giving up one out of every, few 5-6 games.
Yeah.
They're going to be moving into Boston then. Currently, obviously there's going to Boston be playing some games, but they're 63-44. They've hit their stride for sure. And what are the Jays going to match up? Junior and I are going to be at that game on Friday, so please look for us. We're going to be in the section 230-ish.
So we're around there.
We'll be wearing our shirts. And maybe find us outside. We might have something for you, so come find us.
Yeah, a little bit of a giveaway. So you mentioned that they've hit a bit of a stride. So they've been reeling over the last 10. They're 4-6. And if you want to go even to that last week in July for them, they were 3-4. They scored 22 runs and they gave up 42 runs. So they're in a bit of a mishmash right now. It's a good time and a good opportunity for us to jump all over them. They did just surrender the lead to the division, to the Tampa Bay Rays. So I would like to see us put a little less ground in between us and them. So again, you got to take 2 out of 3 here for sure.
Okay. Let's talk about Montoya. The lineup, we mentioned it when we spoke for our deadline day show. The switch ups in the lineup, before the All-Star break, we were hitting really, really well. Looking like the best team in baseball hit-wise. What did you want to touch on with manager here?
I can understand the want and need to get guys going where you kind of imbalance the lineup a little bit, move guys around just to get them into better RBI situations. But the one thing you also do is you kind of destroy the comfort level that these guys have. And professional athletes are creatures of habit. There are guys who will go to the exact same restaurant and order the exact same meal. They will tie their shoes the exact same way. They will miss belt loops and undo their belt 5 or 6 times until they get it where they need to, just because it's habit. Yep. And when you start messing with habit, when you're in a race and you're trying to track down 3-4 teams above you to make the playoffs, it's not the time to mess around with anything. It's you ride what got you there. And, we picked up some pitching to solidify that bullpen a little more. We got a second line starter to slot right behind Ryu. So we did what we needed. Management did what it needed to do, I think, to a certain extent of what we needed for in terms of the now. Could they have gone higher? Yes, they could have, but they would have been giving up a lot more prospect capital. But regardless of that, Charlie's just got to stick to what was working in the first half and stop messing around with things.
Yeah, I agree. Let's take a look at the rotation here. So Ryu, Barrios, Mats, Ray, and Manoah. Is this a lineup that's going to make that run for us as we approach the postseason and, ultimately hoping to make the playoffs with the Jays being down 8.5 games right now and 4 from a wild card spot?
Yeah, it could have been 7.5. Oh my God. I think there's more balance here just in terms of the types of pitchers. I like this 5-piece right here with Ryu leading the way with Barrios right behind him. Mats has had a really strong year. Ray's had a strong year. Yep. And then Manoah, he came out of nowhere. He's 3-1, and he's got some pretty dirty breaking stuff that just falls off the table. And he's been pitching pretty well to this point. Mm-hmm. I think you got to move Stripling to just for some difference, not like he's a difference maker, but to move him to the bullpen. And they're going to have to play around with some of those pieces in the bullpen to make certain that whether it's middle relief, long relief, or, your closers and your setup man, everything's got to be just primed and ready to go.
Yeah.
Not giving up 3 runs in 2 appearances like Hand has to this point. Not hating on him. I think he's in a slump. He's definitely a better pitcher than that. I just think he's got to trust his stuff a little bit more. But I think in terms of our rotation and our bullpen, I like it a lot more than I did a couple of weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be a tough road for us as we try to climb up the ladder here. Let's take a look at the lineup currently. So Springer, Simeon, Guerrero, Bichette, Hernandez, Grichuk, Gurriel Jr., Biggio, and McGuire.
So this is what it should look like.
This is how you'd like to have your lineup set if you were managing the Toronto Blue Jays right now.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I'll tell you, Springer is a very strong leadoff man. He's used to being in that position. That sets the table for a guy like Simeon, who's been hitting the ball really well this year. That leaves Guerrero in a good position to get some RBIs. Having Bichette at cleanup is still going to get him into position for RBIs in case Guerrero doesn't have the opportunity to do so. If not, he's strong enough to be another table setter to have Hernandez and Grichuk behind him. Gurriel's been hitting really well this year, and I think Biggio needs to get a little more playing time. This flip-flopping of putting in Espinal and then him and then putting him at first, and it's got to stop. This kid, he's a phenomenal talent, and the fact that he keeps getting pushed around in terms of positioning, they should have had him at third base, stuck him at third base, let him play at third base, let him grow at third base. Because if there's any shot that we end up re-signing Semien, Biggio's going to have to figure out where he's going to play. I mean, you can't put him at first now and just have Vlad DH. Like, he's got to play the field, and he's got to play in third. So I think they just got to develop him a bit more at third base, but I think that's where he should be. And then I have McGuire basically as a placeholder. You put whatever catcher you've got catching that day in that spot. But I would look at a lineup like this, and I would have a little more fear to it.
Okay. Gives it a little bit more regularity throughout the lineup, right?
Exactly.
In terms of setting up runs and stuff like that.
And you
I like that.
You stick with it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what are the Jays looking for in the second half? How are we going to set up a run here to, clean up some of these games and get into a position where we can at least get into a wild card spot? Because I don't think winning the East is likely. We need to push for the wild card, I think, is where we're going to end up here.
Well, I'm always a fan of number one, if you're going to do anything, you're going to go after the division.
Okay.
Simply because you set your sights high and then you fall into whatever is attainable for your team in terms of the way they're playing.
Fair enough.
Now, when you look at where we are being, you said 8.5, right? So 8.5 back of the division. We're 4 back of the wild card.
Correct.
That's still work. Even four games is still work, right? So you've got the Yankees you have to jump over. You've got Seattle you got to jump over. You got Oakland and Boston who hold those wild cards. So that's 4 teams that you have to worry about. Whereas if you look at the division, it's only 3 teams you have to worry about. Less teams to jump over, double the games. When you're sitting at you're about 104, so you're still looking at 50 plus games to play this season. You're at home now, so your advantage is being at home. Now you have that advantage in your pocket. They've shown 3 or 4 so far, but if they can continue to win, you have to remember that this team was 29-6 on the road. They played pretty well on the road, good road team, right? At home, they weren't as good. They were a sub 500 team at home. That's going to change quite a bit. So
absolutely,
what the focus should be is just looking at the team that's closest to you, catching them, surpassing them, then refocus, readjust to the next team that's ahead of you, catch them, pass them, and then keep readjusting like that until you get to where you want to be or until the season's over.
Yeah. So just focus on basically getting up on the Yankees and Boston. And they might be able to do that if they can pull up a run since they're at home this week, beating Cleveland and hopefully taking Boston, at least 3 of those 4 games or.
The only issue to that is the Yankees have a very soft second half schedule.
Okay.
So while we're playing the likes of Cleveland and Boston and Tampa, they're playing Detroit and Miami and Baltimore. So that you can't control. That's the schedule makers. That's how it's made. So you just got to play the games in front of you and not really worry what else everyone else is doing. So
okay,
I would focus right now on Seattle because they're a half game up on us in that wild card race. And then after that, I think it would be the Yankees who are a game and a half up on us. And then after that, it's Oakland and then Boston and then Tampa Bay. So that's it. It's easy.
Okay, awesome. Any final words? You good?
That's it.
Okay, awesome, guys. We want to thank you so much for spending your time with us today. If you like the roundup or any of our other videos, we ask that you please subscribe to the channel, of course. We'd love to have you. And please like and comment below what you think the Jays need to be doing. Come see us Friday, August 6th. We're going to be around section 230 or so. Look out for us. We'll have our shirts on, and we're happy to have a chat and a little debate about the Jays' future. And you might find something from us outside. So come find us outside. We're going to be around, the different gates, walking around and maybe handing some stuff out. So come look for us. For everybody here at Offside and Out of Bounds, we presented you today with the roundup for August 2nd. I'm Adam.
I'm Junior.
We'll see you real soon.